John of the Eye Patch. Chapter 34. John dove for the crack in the wall. With each thundering heartbeat, he expected a bullet in his back. Fear was a strong motivator, and he squirmed out through the hole faster than on his way in. Once free of the hole, he turned and ran. He reached for the eye patch to pull it free, and returning to his time, of course, the eye patch was gone. He screamed out in frustration. Crack, crack, crack! Gunshots motivated his silence. He ran to the hill where he had last seen his mom and the other pirates. The cannon mounts had been destroyed, and the cannon lay on its side. The barrel cracked and split. Dawn's first light flooded the clearing. The dark tower stood in ominous silhouettes. Several shapes moved along the ramparts, looking like men with long sticks. Not sticks, no, those were muskets. John fled the hillock, abandoning the wreck of a cannon. He found a grove of trees of life, where he could hide among the twisted branches and watch Blackbeard's tower. The medallion was nearly in his hand. Mom nearly home. John gritted his teeth. Close wasn't the same as failed, he thought. He won over Anne, and she'd given him the medallion as soon as Blackbeard left the tower. That would work. All he had to do was wait for the Pirate King to leave, and then call out, and she would toss the medallion to him. All was not lost, he thought. But when the gates of the tower opened, John was stunned to see Anne and Blackbeard walking side by side down the harbor road. Several pirates flanked them with an assortment of muskets and flintlock pistols already drawn and at the ready. Anne still wore the medallion. I can't stop them alone, John thought. He raced along the shoreline. The last time he ran through the tent village, he'd been half blind from the one eye patch, and the market had been bustling with activity. Now, most pirates were asleep or just waking, and John nimbly raced along the wares, bouncing from crate to crate, leaping from side to side, diving and rolling under tables, sidestepping stacks of chicken coops. He saw Queen Anne's Revenge at anchor in the east of the main harbor. Blackbeard doesn't have far to go. John ran as fast as he could, as hard as he could. He was panting, red-faced, and sweaty when he reached the Dragon of Plunder. His mom paced the deck below. Mom! Mom! She whirled on him. John! Her eyes went wide. Where's your eye patch? Mr. Griffin took it. John looked at the deck, fearing an explosion of anger from his mom. John! It wasn't anger in his mom's voice. It was sadness. She stiffened with her rigid posture. Then came the fired rage that John had grown familiar. Rally the men! We have to capture Mr. Griffin. No! John ran to her side and grabbed her by the arm. It's more than that. I found the stone for the treasure chest. Just like I said, Anne has it, but Blackbeard is taking her to his ship. If we hurry, we can stop them. His mom stared at him a moment as her head started to tilt towards her shoulder. Her face hardened and she turned to the crew and yelled, You heard my son? Gather your weapons. We have a pirate to stop. The door to the captain's quarters slammed open with a thud. Blackbeard strode out on the deck, his parrot on shoulder. Hey, what's all the shouting about? He ran to John, draping an arm over him. Hey, how's my favorite pirate wizard? I knew if there was anyone who could get out of Blackbeard's tower, it would be you. Hey, everybody, did you know John's a wizard? John winced. John's mom rolled her eyes. That's be explaining his fine clothes, Sean said. And all of the magic, Kofi added. John, can you do some of your magic for the crew? Blackbeard asked. Maybe fly around or shoot a fireball or something. It's not that kind of magic. Well, what kind of magic is it? John held his arms at length and looked up and down. Wait. Something's different about you, but I can't put my eye on it. My eye patch was stolen, Captain, John said. Blackbeard looked him in the eye. You had an eye patch? I did. Don't you remember? You called me John of the Eye Patch. That's only because I didn't know the whole wizard thing. Blackbeard threw his hands in the air in apparent frustration. I don't know why I'm always the last one to know these things. It's because you tell everyone my secrets, John said. Oh, please. I haven't told anybody. Yeah, you told everybody that Mary the Unmerciful was my mom, and you've told everyone I was a wizard? Huh, hardly secrets are those. Name another. Well, those were the only two secrets I told you. See, the rest of your secrets are safe. Blackbird said. John sighed. I could see this was going nowhere fast. The only reason the rest of the secrets were safe is because he didn't tell Blackbird. What needed, however, was to get the eye patch back for Mr. Griffin and the medallion for Man. We're wasting time. We need to go after Blackbeard. His daughter has a magical item I need. No way! Blackbird waved his hands back and forth like he was trying to shoo a bird. Even with the wizard on our seat, I mean, come on. This is Blackbeard we're talking about. He'll shoot us. You're going to help me. John paused, trying to think of something that would motivate Blackbird. Don't turn me into a fish! Blackbird waggled a finger. If that's what it takes, that's what I'll do, John bluffed. Without the eye patch, he was just an ordinary boy on a ship full of pirates. He glanced at his mom, who didn't move or say anything. John pointed 2 fingers at Blackbird and said the first words that came to his mind. Abracadabra. Okay. Everybody, grab a gun. We've got work to do. Blackbird took 3 steps back from John and used his fingertip to draw circles in the air like he was making a ward of some type. We're going after Blackbeard. John's mom led the pirate sortie down through the town. His mom demanded John stay in the back, so he did. But before they went more than a half-dozen houses, they saw Blackbeard and his pirates on a longboat rowing to sea. John squinted at the retreating longboat, but it was already too far away to tell who was on it, other than Blackbeard, who was so giant in size that he was unmistakable. Well, that's that. I guess we missed our chance. Aye, nay. Nay be catching them in time, Mr. Owen said. Well, we've got to hurry back to the ship and set sail. Mr. Owens pointed to the Queen Anne's Revenge. She be anchored at sea. Gone before we sail port. Well, we don't have to catch them if we know where they're going, John said. Are you just going to scry the destination? Blackbird clasped his hands together and smiled gleefully. I love having a wizard on the ship. Better. I think I can get Blackbeard's logbook, John said. Anne dropped a copy of it in Blackbeard's tower. As long as she didn't pick it up, John could retrieve the book. There was also a chance that Mr. Griffin would still be at the tower, and John could get his eye patch back. John and the pirates continued to the tower, only to find that it was abandoned. This time, John didn't have to crawl through the small hole in the tower, but instead, he just walked right through the wide-open gates. It looks like they left in a hurry, his mom said. They didn't even secure the cannons. Maybe that means they missed the logs, John said. He opened the door to the tower, went downstairs, and found the leather-bound copy of the logbook on the dirt floor. He brought it up outside to inspect. What's that? Wizard Ruins? Spell book? Blackbird asked. It's just book. It's written in English. Oh, right. Ruins. Hidden as English, Blackbird said. John ignored him. Blackbird scanned through the logs. They return to this one island every time they capture a ship. We all have our favorite hangouts, Blackbird said. I think this is where he keeps his treasure, John said. Blackbird's eyes widened and he danced in a circle. Did somebody say Did somebody say treasure? Mucho bonero tesoro. He left Blackbeard's tower at a gallop, yelling treasure all the way back to the harbor. John and his mom had to jog to keep up with the giddy pirate. By the time they reached the docks, all the pirates from the sortie were red-faced, sweaty and panting. John had hardly felt the exercise after so much time spent on Pirate Island. He started up the ramp for the ship only for his mom to grab him by the arm. You're staying here, John's mom told him. I figured out where they're going. I get to come along. Until you find the eye patch, you're vulnerable. I won't have you dying here. Mom! Don't mom me, mister. Mr. Griffin has the eye patch. He probably went with Blackbeard. John didn't know that for certain, but it seemed like a reasonable guess. Let me get it back for you. But how many times have I saved everyone? You've done enough, John, but your magic is gone. Do you want to tell Blackbird that? Do you think he'll follow you without any magic? I won't rest until you're home. John stomped his foot again. Home. His mom looked at the sea. She looked back at him. Her eyes were lined red. What does your dad think? It's morning. He's got to be worried sick about you. If you just listened. But John stopped listening as to her pang of anxiety, and it hit him in the stomach. Dad was going to be angry. Worse than that, he was going to be double abandoned. All the more reason I have to go with you, John said. No. Anne is my friend. She'll give me the medallion. Kofi, Sean, she yelled. The cook and the boatswain peeked over the gunwale. You two, get down here right now, John's mother yelled. The rotund pirate and his lanky companion disembarked the Dragon of Plunder. They stood in front of John's mom, their heads down, hats in hands, waiting for whatever berating she had in store for them. Keep an eye on John for a while we're at sea. Make sure he doesn't get into any mischief. She took a loop of rope from the dockside and tied it around John's wrists, and then tied the other end of the rope to the cook. Be good, John. I'll bring your eye patch back. She climbed the ladder to the Dragon of Plunder. John watched helplessly from the shore.